Hey everyone, welcome back to Coach Walk's Corner. Today we're getting the inside scoop on how coaches' wives can best support coaches throughout the arc of their coaching career, on the field, and in the community. So, Ordell, my first question is, how can coaches' wives best support coaches throughout the arc of their coaching career?
Um, First, this is a hard question to answer. It's so personality driven. I think like one of the uniquenesses maybe about what I'd say that you've done is fits with me, who's an introvert and you're extrovert. So a lot of the things that you do, so everybody's different. What I'd say, number one thing that would apply to anybody with the career is no drama. I just have seen so many coaches or coaches who have maybe negative reputations, and it's based off their wives. So and coaches talk about these things. If there's drama and staff drama between wives, um, it can affect the coach's career. So being a person and just find a way to get along with people and don't have drama. So that's number one. I think number two, um, being willing as a family to use family resources to educate the coach. So what I mean by that is when I was at college, the program paid for us to go to clinics, different things like that. But at high school, our program doesn't pay for that. So as a family, we have to make a decision on, is this worthwhile to use some of our resources to help further your education from a coaching standpoint, and it also furthers networking opportunities. A lot of coaching is who you know, being connected with different people. So those clinics are powerful tools to learn more, but also to learn from people and build relationships with people. So we certainly at the college level try to go to our big football convention, and that even had a wives association. I was a part of that, and it's definitely relationships that she built in that connected me with coaches that I didn't know. So that was, became a networking tool, just relationships that she built on our own there. So making a decision about that as a family, being willing to do that will help in that career, being willing to go, being willing to allow time to go because it might be travel, being away from the family. So all those things will help within your career. Um, and then last one will be uh, honesty. Honesty about this coaching profession and maybe future opportunities the coach may have. Hopefully your relationship you talked about where we're trying to go with this coaching. You're trying to be a head coach. You're trying to get to a certain level, maybe high school, trying to move to college, different things. But a lot of times with coaching, to build that resume, it does require for you to maybe move and take different jobs. And so, speaking through that, talking through that, certainly before you've been in that situation, I think is key. But then once you're in it, that I think as spouses, you have to be courageous about what you really feel and not you want to support the coach. And so you say what you think the coach feels because of their emotion and their excitement and different things, but not really being honest. And I think that can cause a lot of problems in the future problems in a relationship. If the coach think you're on board and then you find out later that you wasn't really on board, that is extremely. I know that would be hurtful. Um, that's just being in a good relationship, ability to be honest and try to work through those decisions. And if you got a good coach with a good heart, he should never take you to a place that you both are not on.
Mhm. So you're not saying that a wife should like stuff her feelings and just pretend to be at peace with someone, but whenever it's their choice whether to engage in conflict or be kind to someone, always choose never to avoid drama and to stay out of the fray as much as possible, that kind of thing. Because some things are going to be unavoidable. I mean, there's going to be conflict, but when we can avoid it, always avoid it.
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't control what other people can do, but you can always control your response.
Hmm.
And so, and that's what, yeah. And our response can certainly escalate situations or de-escalate. And we just have to be wiser with that.
Yep. And then on the field, which I'm also going to add like in the weight room. So like throughout like the coaching X's and O's and all of that. How can coaches' wives be engaged and supportive throughout that?
Um, I think again, it's just having conversation with the coach to understand what he wants. For me, presence is powerful because culture is powerful because so much about what I feel like is important to me as a coach that we are teaching lessons that goes beyond the field. So anytime the family is around, whether that's in practice, the weight room, seeing them in the hallways, they see me interacting with my sons, the husband and wife relationship, those can be powerful images because those are also things that we're trying to communicate and talk about. So they get a picture of that. If the family is never around, then not that it's a negative, but yeah, I think there may be a little bit of a missing tool that love is a verb is something that I talked about, and so a spouse showing support for the program, maybe on a hot day bringing popsicles to practice, and that's just a small gesture, but I think it's a powerful gesture of being fully communicating. I'm fully invested. I'm fully supporting. I'm fully supporting you players. So whether that's bringing something to the weight room, and for things like that, I think those are powerful tools that that helps the program.
Mhm. And then with the staff and in the community.
Yeah, again, presence is powerful. The staff, I think about building a tight knit culture. And so, if you have the means and if you have the time, and you're actually open to it, like having staff dinners or staff lunches, different things like that. Certainly for me, I worked at a program where we had to practice at night. So we had some single coaches and some married coaches. So Beth organized dinner on Tuesday night at the facility. So at our coach office, we come together and we eat, and we did that at different programs. But I think it was such a huge tool in terms of building the staff cohesion, building that with the families also, so not just the staff, but me being connected with the family of my coaches, which coaching can be very intense, and so having those authentic relationships beyond just the playing or beyond just the coaching, I think help work through some of those issues with the community. Same thing, being visible, certainly repping your team, understanding that unfortunately you're always on the clock. Certainly depending on different communities are different, but with football it can be a high profile position, and so as a spouse of a coach, people can notice you, and so things that maybe you say about the program out in the community, people may ask you your opinion about different things. Just understand that you may be authentically giving your own opinion, but people outside the program will take that as your not just yours. So have to really be careful about that. But I know for me again, who's an introvert, it's been tremendously powerful having Beth, who's so outgoing and engaging with the community, with people. It helped build the bridge for me, who I don't like small talking. So it's been really helpful for me.
So we've had people invite themselves to sit down with us at at our dates, like just join in on the conversation with us. And I mean, there are times where people just invite themselves into conversations, and where that can be very frustrating. It can also be an opportunity. And I think that looking at every engagement as an opportunity uh, to the best of your ability is always going to be a great way to just support your husband in public. And so um, I think that would be my one piece of advice is to look at everything as an opportunity. Um, so if there was one overarching thing that one that you would say to wrap us up here, that coaches' wives, like if there was, because we're all going to be different, and a lot of things you've talked about have been from the head coaching perspective, and so maybe there's that wife who like wants to be involved, but her husband's an assistant coach. Like, um, is it presence being there, like being at, like showing up to practice? Like, is that what you think is kind of the most impactful way to be supportive, or is it making treats for the players, or what is it? What is the way that you think the players are most impacted? Or is it that is most encouraging to the coach, or what? Is there one thing that you think, or is it just kind of whatever the wife is most comfortable with, or is there?
Um, yeah, well, I think overall, first of all, it's always what the wife is comfortable with. Um, and I think that's I think most coaches are good humans, so I only could speak for myself. But I don't want any. I always felt like I didn't want the coaches' wives to feel like they had to do something because Beth's giftedness and what she wanted to do or what our vision was. We always wanted to invite them to be a part, but don't feel obligated. I think, and certainly, you may have some programs where maybe the coach's wife is not that involved. In those situations, well, I think all of them, communicate with your husband, communicate with the head coach. I think it's extremely important to understand the coach's vision and understand his terms, and I mean definitions of that vision. So I'll give an example. A head coach can say, "We're about family." A wife might have a different concept about what that means than what that head coach is saying that means. And so you have to, as a wife, have to make sure that you're trying to get his understanding about what that means. And that's going to solve a lot of, conflict there
Mhm.
probably before it happens. I think, powerful thing is to understand for me is always if you want to if you want to. There's so many things. Like if you want to bring treats to the team, great. If you want to, understand what that means from my perspective. For me, who I only speak for myself, I would love for you to do that. These things that you suggest, like things that would aid the program, that would bless the players, I would love for you to do that. But only if you really want to, because I don't want it to be an obligation. And at any point that if you, there's always this potential that you can sign up to do something because you feel like it's what I want, and that becomes an obligation, and that can easily turn into resentment. And so I don't, I don't want resentment. I want you to work in your giftedness. Talk to your assistant coach, your husband, your coach. Um, have him have a conversation. Hopefully with good staff where they're talking about family. You can have these discussions as the family, like like a coach will have a staff meeting. You have a staff meeting with the family, and that head coach be able to give that vision. If if they're not, they have, a lot of people haven't thought about this. Talk to your husband and just ask the question, like, hey, here's some things that I would want to do for the program. I think it would be huge. I just want to bless the program. And that the coach can respond to those. But yeah, we just don't want expectations that's unspoken. Those create resentment. We don't want that on either way. So communication is the key, and then being honest.
Mhm. So head coaches, if you're watching this and you have a staff with other coaches' wives and you haven't had a family gathering yet, that might be something to try to do in this next time you're allowed to have a season. So thanks for joining us. We hope that this information has been helpful. Coaches' wives, we are excited to hear the different ways that you are using your gifts to serve your teams and to support your coaches.